Do you believe the statement "California knows how to party" is referring to only LA?
I think California is a metaphor.
And it's been 2 years since you left Norton?
Oh, more than that.
Where's my hair and makeup?
I brought you a parting gift. Wait, coronavirus, I forgot about that. Yeah, I bet you're wondering why I have all those bottle caps.
Well, I know you, so I wasn't wondering at all.
So if anyone has bottle caps, let me know, and it can help an armless man. Now, my first question for you, what's a better type of wood for fire, spruce or ferns?
I've tried cedar, I've tried plastic, ferns.
What got you into teaching?
I took this class that caused me to really examine my values. Turns out I don't value money at all. I like helping people figure out what they want to do. Why don't I be a teacher? Well, you know what? Being in the classroom, I saw that kids had all this talent. They have more talent than what's on TV. Anyway, I was proud when I got that Time magazine award.
There's a bee harassing me at the moment.
But that's good, because bees are good.
Save the bees.
Save the bees.
Do you have any more movie recommendations?
The Austin Powers series.
You think a fourth one will be coming out?
I do. I think Mike Myers has run out of money. He'll need money too. But my most recent favorite movie is Green Book.
Do you rather fight one great white shark or 100 elephant hawk moths?
Dude, the great white, I've been waiting for that because I heard you just like boom, 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 punch them. You just gotta boom, you know? You can't let them smell fear.
One thing you're looking forward to most in the upcoming school year?
What am I looking forward to most? Laughing. Laughing with my students. We can still laugh through the math. Telling them about all the awesome books that I read this summer.
And what's one of them?
Oh, The Pale-Faced Lie by David Crow. You like my tweet?
Shout out to David Crow. Do you believe the statement "California knows how to party" is referring to only LA?
I think California is a metaphor. Any city, town, district, party could be a different meaning, not just
Like a good book club?
Exactly. It's lit, for sure.
What would be the favorite class you have taught?
The class that I'm teaching in the future called The Reader's Journey.
Even our cameraman here today. What was that with Saoirse Ronan? What was that movie called? Lady Bird?
Lady Bird or Little Woman?
From watching a film adaptation of Kurt Vonnegut's Harrison Bergeron to having interview-style book presentations, you have a very fun environment in the class that could be perceived as boring. Have you always taught in that manner?
I've always taught in that manner because I figured if I'm going to be doing something full-time, it better be worth my while. If I'm going to spend most of my waking hours doing something, I want to laugh, I want to have fun. You know, I used to have kids participate in the Ellen DeGeneres show, you know, but now she's me, so I got to find something else, you know.
That's true.
And I don't no longer want to be on the Ellen show. I want to be a candid couple. The babies, you know, the mother can only handle one baby at a time because they have multiple babies. They need people.
And how do you think that Easter Bunny became associated with eggs? And do you think it's something his management team should have dealt with better?
You know, I have often struggled with that question. I have no answer to that.
This has been awesome. Maybe an air bump with elbows?
Wrist game, go Bruce Wayne. So much white up in that shit, it look like cocaine. Bought a boat for all this water flooded, leaves my own plane. Gotta get up out of here, there's way too many no names. Hit you with the Tommy, that's fatality like Johnny Cage.
So I keep big bills up. In it to win it, I'm all in.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Days are ahead. hit or a miss. I cannot live like this, taking a dip in the reverse sticks. Look at my mind, it's an empty abyss. I cannot hear you, it's just static. Thought that I'd be anticlimactic.
All right. We have Mr. Gale here. And it's been 2 years since you left Norton?
Oh, more than that. 2017 was my last year.
That is crazy because I had you my sophomore year and that was your last year. And it
Yeah.
feels like, I don't know, obviously, not saying you're older, but, you know, I'm turning 20 and it feels like just yesterday.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It doesn't feel like that long though.
So what have you been up to? Because you moved to Montana because your wife was in like nuclear or some sort of like that, right?
She's a radiologist, so she got a job at a hospital out here.
Oh, I
And
heard like radiation and I just went straight to weapons.
yeah, Chernobyl, basically. We're living in Chernobyl, the dead zone. But no, it's awesome. She got like a dream job out here, so we just did it. We moved, and it's been fantastic. It's very different. Besides being 2,000 miles away, it's very different from Massachusetts in a lot of ways, but it's a blast.
Oh, I can imagine. And there was a few pictures of the house on Instagram a while back. Don't go into details, but over there, are things just cheaper in general?
Yeah, actually, I'd say everything's cheaper. I don't really know of a single thing that like there's more land, so land's cheaper, and the cost of living is cheaper if you want to get into the nitty gritty of it. And so it's pretty nice. So like the house out here would have been, I don't know, twice as much as a nice town in Massachusetts, because I mean, just because of whatever, Boston and the job opportunities and everything out there, and the housing market out here. This house was on the market for 9 months. When you take Massachusetts, everyone's like freaking out the day of a house goes on market. You have to like put in an offer and stuff. So we really lucked out.
Oh, exactly. And I mean, just over here in general, you hear everyone's like very high paced, very tightly wound. And like you hear down south, people are more relaxed. Did you notice a difference in just people in general when you went over there?
Oh yeah, like this is similar to the South in that people are nicer, people are less aggressive on the road. There's no traffic. I live in the biggest city in the state, in even around the area, the biggest city, and there's zero traffic. People think there's 5 o'clock traffic because they have to wait like maybe 5 or 10 minutes at some lights or whatever downtown. But the downtown is half a mile strip, and it's like one road that gets slightly busy. And
Yeah.
anywhere between Providence and Boston, like there's traffic like almost all the time, every day on all the highways and stuff. So it is nice. People down here are relaxed and take it a little bit slower, and they're nicer in some ways in general. So we got that going for us. It's definitely a different pace.
So are you in the city? Because from your house, it didn't look like a city at all.
Yeah, we're in the city. We're like we live on top of like a cliff, like above the city where the airport is, and where like there's a few neighborhoods and stuff. You're like 300 feet above the city, and there's like a park across the road. So it's very different. Like when I say city out here, this city is spread out over miles and miles, and there is a downtown with a couple like tall buildings, but this city would be like the size of like it'd be smaller than most of the cities that surround Boston, if that makes sense.
Really?
Like it has like 100,000 people or 120,000 people, but it's like spread out. Like you could drive 20 minutes in any direction from the middle of the city, and you're still kind of in the city, and you're just driving through like neighborhoods and stuff. So it's definitely not the same as the busyness of Boston or closer to Providence where you guys are. So.
And I remember you weren't positive if you were going to be teaching over there because it's totally different with the like licensing and stuff. Did you end up going for teaching or no?
Well, I sort of did at the beginning. I got my teaching license to teach here, and I like re-enrolled. I enrolled at a college here, maybe to finish my master's degree. But then we had 2 kids back to back, 2 girls, and they are a handful. And so I was just like, well, there's really no reason to teach. It doesn't actually pay as well as it does in Massachusetts. Massachusetts pays its teachers very well compared to other jobs, So out here, it just wasn't going to make sense. And there's actually a lot less jobs out here too, because once you get outside the city, the towns are super small, so there's not a lot of jobs there. But yeah, so it would have been nice, and I can still kind of go back to it, and when I want to. But I was like, man, been told that little kids are a lot to handle, and they are. Like they're crazy and take a lot of taking care of. I don't know who invented them, but
There's some people that have pets. They'll say, "Oh, well, I can handle a child because
oh
I
my
have a
God,
dog."
yeah.
What do you think about that statement?
No, it's crazy. I mean, no, the diapers alone make it no comparison. But no, it's an amazing experience, but it's a lot of responsibility. I was never really responsible for anyone other than myself, so that's kind of a big change. I imagine if you had like 10 dogs, then you would get the same level of chaos. But you can't right now we're potty training my oldest daughter, and so you can potty train a dog, but you like let them go outside. No, there's a difference between poop on the grass and poop on the rug, and it's so it's
Yeah.
fun.
The same thing with my cat. I mean, I was just thinking about the toilet. My dogs normally drink from the toilet bowl, but for some reason my cat did. And that was the strangest thing to me. We had to shut the lid because of it. And it was like the
Wow.
strange. Yeah.
I feel like we have to address the elephant in the room. That do you wear this red blazer all the time? Is that
Th-
like your signature thing?
Yes, this is my thing. I needed something to stand out, so I went to Kohl's. And believe it or not, it was on the clearance rack for 80% off. So I
Wow,
had to jump on it.
that's unbelievable. I mean, who wouldn't want to look like they're wearing a red carpet like at all times? I don't know, but
Exactly.
that's crazy.
Now,
So
oh, you gonna
yeah,
say?
no, what's up?
Well, you're a tall guy, but I was wondering, do you have opinion on how tall is too tall?
Uh, yes, about an inch shorter than me is too tall. You can't you can't walk through doorways or like stand up on the subway or on planes, and you can't drive most cars. I bought a truck last 2 years ago, and I was basically walking in with a car seat and myself, and I was like, I need this car seat to fit in the back seat, and I need to sit in the front. So 95% of vehicles were just excluded right off the bat because my seat was like going all the way back, even if I didn't, if I, fit or didn't fit, and then the car seat would have to fit behind it, and I was like, nope, don't work, doesn't work. So finally, we found an F-150 that fit, and I was like, all right, you got yourself a deal.
The
I'm kind of
radiation
an
money was coming in handy.
yeah, exactly. I'm an easy sell if I can fit somewhere. So no, I mean, I think anyone that wants to be like 6'5" or 6'6", like have at it. Any taller than that, and everyone wants you to play basketball, and then but you don't fit any place and you suck at basketball. So not much you can do.
Did you play basketball?
No,
Yeah.
you probably asked me that. No, that's what everyone, the first class of the year when I'm like, hey class, I'm Mr. Gale. What's up? How you doing? Like, that's probably the best question I would get asked, and I would never have a good answer. I'm like, no, I was like a loser in high school. What would I play basketball for? That would have been too smart. I wasn't that smart. I think I said one time, I'm like, I only got smart when I got hired here. Before that, I was stupid.
Hey, you were
So,
talking about basketball, but are you still a football fan? And what did you think of the game yesterday?
the game was awesome. Cam Newton looks good. Tom Brady, the Bucks look bad. Tom Brady looked bad. So
Looked good
no,
for Bill yesterday.
I almost considered wearing like my Patriots gear just for the interview, just because it's funny. But I love the Pats.
What is like the
And
majority of the?
it's like
Oh, you froze. Sorry.
I'm frozen. No, the majority of people out here, what do they root for?
Yeah.
It's a mixed bag because there's no sports teams that close, but it's usually Denver, or Minneapolis, or like the Packers. So you kind of get to pick and choose. So there actually are some Pats fans out here, but for the most part, people just pick something that's kind of close to them or that they can recognize. But it's actually really tough getting Pats games out here because like you gotta either trick YouTube TV into thinking that you live in Massachusetts so that you can get the local channels, or you have to pay pay out of the nose for DirecTV to whatever it's called. So yeah, it's kind of a lot, but it's awesome. I do the one thing I miss besides family and friends is local Boston sports. I still listen to the Sports Hub, 98.5 the Sports Hub.
Really?
All the time, as much as I can. Yeah, oh for sure, because I need to keep up because I can't watch as many as I used to. But
I got you. And
so.
do you keep up with people still around here that you used to teach with? You seemed well liked when you were teaching. I don't know if that was true all around, but I would imagine people. I mean, I think last year I DM'd you about like, hey, what's up? And then a year later we're doing this. So.
No, you're friendly. I don't I think just social media, which is like the lowest form of communication on the ladder. Um, but no, I don't do too much like that. I mean, I'm pretty bad at staying in touch with people. So I just like my friends that I've known since I was a kid, and then my family and stuff like that. So I sort of like restarted my life out here. So it's like now I'm trying to make friends out here. And my wife's from here, so it wasn't too hard. And then yeah, it's just cool. Like people, obviously, like you have kids, and then you become friends with people that have little kids. You know, like your age group and stuff. And COVID sort of put a break on daycare and kids socializing and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been fun, and I'm pretty bad at staying in contact. It's funny. It was really funny your interview with Green. I haven't seen
Oh,
him in a
thank
while,
you.
but I feel like no one really changes. Like you seem the same. Maybe I seem the same. Like Mr. Green, like his mannerisms like are just hilarious as
Oh
always.
yeah.
Like he could have been a comic or something like that because he's just a funny dude. But yeah, no, I miss it. You guys are like Norton was so cool. It was so cool to be a part of like a town that I had zero experience with before, you know, walking in the door to be interviewed by Lib. Before that, I had no experience with Norton, and so it was cool to be a part of that town for was it almost 5 years.
Is that why you started your Instagram, to keep a very basic contact with the town?
Oh yeah. Well, I thought it'd be funny, and yeah, so like I have like a personal Instagram account, but then I was like, oh, I'll just create one and just to see what the kids are doing, or if they want to see what I'm doing. So it's just cool. Like I think I forget to post on it a lot, and now it's just like all pictures of your kids because that's what you do when you have kids. You're like, this kid is so cute. Like, what's this kid doing? So it's pretty cool. Like I scroll through it sometimes, and it's interesting to see a couple kids, a couple students have like told me like, oh, I got into this college or this and that. And I'm like, congratulations. Like if I look back now, like it's just really cool to think about how some of the people I taught like you and well now everyone I taught is pretty much going to college or in that age group where they can go to college or they've graduated. So it's really fantastic because it's like obviously at some point, you know, everyone's gonna grow up and do something. But when you're in high school, like whatever, like what did you know, you worked at Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's, it's like whatever, you know, you're in high school, that's sort of your identity. But once you graduate, it's like, oh crap, you got to make your own identity with a job and a livelihood and stuff like that. So
Yeah, for sure. And when you were talking about like in high school, I was thinking that's like how I made most of my friends. I'm going to BCC at the moment, and it's a
yeah.
very odd atmosphere because there's no real community to make more friends. So as an adult, how do you make friends? You were saying through your kids at the
Well,
moment, but you
like
didn't always have kids.
I'm pretty bad at making friends. So like, maybe you'll be in the same boat where it's like you look back and you're 30 and you're like, oh, all my friends are still my friends from high school and college. And so I mean, I lived at my college for years. So like to me, that's one way to make friends because you're just literally, I was friends. I don't know if this is like, you can have coincidental friends. Like I lived on a floor in a 5-floor building that had two sides. So there's like a 1 in 10 chance of like what my friend group was going to be. And then ended up being, you know what I mean? Like it was like a small hallway of people that I became friends with and I'm still friends with today. So it's kind of random. You never know, but I have no advice for making friends. I'm not that good at it. I just I don't do that much
Yeah.
stuff. You know what I mean? Like other people, like when you're older, it's like, oh, you go out to the bar and you make friends, or it's just like on social media, like you just like have an interest and you get everyone together, and it's like I'm just like, no, I have my friends. I don't need that many. Now I
Yeah.
have kids, and the kids are my best friends, whether I like it or not. It's kind of a forced friendship.
And you were saying I was just thinking like bars and restaurants and stuff. Is Montana taking coronavirus seriously? Because I know some states aren't. Massachusetts is very strict still.
Right. It's been give and take. Like I think people out here are they're more conservative and Republican and stuff. So like I think part of it was like not really into wearing masks. Like when Massachusetts was in full lockdown, like going crazy, people out here, and you know, this is maybe more April or May, people out here weren't wearing masks that much. Like I think at one point, I remember going to the grocery store for a few weeks and I was like wearing a mask. Probably 1 out of 10 people were wearing masks. But now like they have like a state order where everyone has to wear them pretty much. So not everyone does, but most people, almost everyone does, especially like when you're in a restaurant or a grocery store or whatever. So there's been some lockdown stuff like that's happened. It's come and gone, but we actually had kind of a spike in cases here in this city. So it's like it's a little bit weird. North Dakota, South Dakota are having like the biggest spikes in the country right now. So it's a little bit scary. But yeah, I don't know, you just got to do what you do. We literally had a kid during the pandemic. So that was a lot. And then you kind of like just want to like protect them. So we have an extra excuse to be like on lockdown. Like we have a nice house, we have a yard, we can go for walks in the park or down the street. So we don't really need to be taking any extra risks. So ultimately, it's like we kind of put ourselves on quarantine, whether or not the world is going along with it.
I gotcha. And near the end of your tenure at, I was gonna say Boston, at Norton, you had a list of 10 movies, I believe, for people to watch. I remember like the
Yeah.
Lego movie or something while I was on there.
Uh,
Have you added any movies to that
no,
upper echelon or no?
no, I put that on as like honorable mentions of just like interesting movies. Lego, I put probably like 25 as honorable mentions. I don't think I've added. Wow, has there been any good movies that have come out in the last 2 years? The Star Wars movies were
I
kind of
saw
bad.
Tenet. Have you heard of Tenet?
Yeah, so you
I
saw it.
loved that movie. I thought it was
Yeah,
crazy.
Christopher. I think I had Inception on my top 10. Christopher Nolan's a genius, so I definitely want to see that. All his movies, like The Dark Knight and stuff. All his movies are good, so I definitely want to see that. I don't know. Like we don't go out to see movies anymore. I'm trying to think of like the last great movie I've seen. I was pumped about the Star Wars movies, but then they kind of fell flat. And then obviously the last Avengers was good and stuff like that. So no, I've actually looked at that list like slightly recently just because I thought it was funny because I did a top 10 books, top 10 TV shows, and top 10 movies just for like because it's easy and fun to do that sort of stuff. So like I don't know, it's just fun to look at those lists. And what inspired me to do that was in eighth grade we had to do that when I was in school, and then when you were a senior, you got that piece of paper that you wrote. It's like a time capsule, so to speak, that your English teacher took. And I remember getting it when I was a senior in high school and being like, "Holy crap! I was stupid in eighth grade. Like, how could like Nirvana was my favorite band and stuff like that. It's just like you just think of this stuff and even in 4 years, you're like, wow, I was a dumb little kid in eighth grade. And now I'm like, now I know what I like. And then of course, 4 years after high school, I liked completely different stuff anyways. So
Yeah. And have you been back since, or?
uh, just twice, just twice. So not this year. We went back for like a wedding, and I went back last year, the 4th of July, like really briefly. So yeah, I want to come back. Like my mom's come out and visit. I've had a couple friends come out, but it's like now with the pandemic, everyone's like, what do we do? Like it's stupid to visit to travel too much. So I do want to come back because I thought it'd be a lot of fun. I actually like wanted to fly back for your class's graduation or another one's graduation, like if it just like made sense. But then I don't know, it's pretty hard to travel with kids, and then now it's like impossible with the pandemic to justify doing too much.
Right, I can imagine. And my last question is, same thing to Mr. Green. You were a big inspiration for mine, even the final, where you said we could do what we wanted, and I made a YouTube video, and I thought that was the coolest thing that you let me to do that. What, any open message you would like to leave off on?
Uh, no, I'm not that inspirational. No, follow your dreams, and also, oh, I did want to mention, I think it's awesome. Like all the kids I taught in Norton, all the time in Norton. I didn't know if you were going to ask a question like this, but like, what do you reflect back looking on? Um, I do think that the world is gonna be okay. Like you kids, some of you were little jerks, but it's like it's amazing like what you'll grow out of and what you'll grow into. And I do think it's kind of cool that a lot of the kids that I taught like are now going to be adults, and then they get to change the world more and more, and everyone kind of gets older, and eventually like I'll be 65 and you'll be 61, and we'll be in the same cohort. And it's just cool to think about like some of the kids I've taught being an influence on the world rather than just sitting in a classroom like, hey, this is what happened in history. Well, it's like now you get to make history. So it's kind of a cool change.
I gotcha. And Reed Hathaway, if you remember him, he did want me to tell you hello.
Oh, well, that's nice. Reed's awesome.
You're like, I
Uh,
don't remember him. I don't know who
no,
that
of course, I 100% remember Reed. Yeah, he had some of the similar skill sets as you. So I do
Hyperactive.
remember that. Yeah, well, that. But
All right.
yeah, no, it was good to see you. And
It was good. Hey, maybe I'm ever in Montana. You're ever here. We do an interview in person.
no, that would be awesome. Anyone who ever comes to Montana, like, let me know. It's a big state, so it's actually like 12 hours to drive across it. But but if anyone's ever out here, it is beautiful and fantastic, and I recommend it. So yeah, it was good talking to you, Jeff.
I've been traveling on a boat, in a plane, in a car, on a bike, with a bus, on a train.